Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies, strengthening your business while offering your talent to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Welcome everybody. Christine, what do we have for everybody today? Super excited.
Ooh, I am excited. One of my favorite topics. Okay, let's face it, they're all my favorite topic. But it's talking about that whole Google profile thing. If you remember way back when, the name has changed sometimes, but really what it does and its purpose is so important. So if you don't have your Google business profile and you haven't claimed it yet, and you're like, oh man, that's a thing. And I have that happen all the time with new business owners, right? They don't even know where to start with it. We're going to talk about that today. Today is your crash course. So I'm excited to share it. And, we're blasting out to a bunch of different locations, different groups that we're affiliating with and having fun with. So, hey, y'all, welcome along for the journey. You're going to learn something today.
Yes. And it's always been interesting to me that Google business profile or whatever name they end up
used to be
changing.
Google My Business. I mean, so there's, it kind of morphs. That's okay. We're along for the journey.
Yep. And at the time of this recording, it's Google business profile, and who knows what they'll change it to next. But bottom line is that real estate is super valuable. So let's jump in. Let's talk about how to set it up, how to optimize it a little bit, how to get it going. And you got to start sometime because this real estate is so important. It's a bit like having your own billboard out on the highway somewhere saying, this is where we are, this is what we do, and a little bit of information about yourself. So it's a big billboard. It's really good, and it's easy to find for those who are leveraging Google on a daily or weekly basis.
And there's a lot of people leveraging Google. You want to be on there. And really, this isn't for everybody. This is for those that have either a business that has some element in a service area, right? Or a business that has a brick and mortar. If you're a completely online business, they're like, no, this isn't for you. So there's workarounds a little bit. So we can talk about that at some point, maybe if you want to do a one-on-one. But for now, let's plan on those two areas. You're in the right place. Okay. If you haven't claimed it, it's amazing how many people haven't, right? Pay attention. We're going to talk to you a little bit more about what you can do with your Google profile. This is going to be a lot of fun.
All right.
Here we go. So today's agenda, we're going to look about the Google business profile, a little bit of a better understanding of it, setting it up, and then optimizing it. And really, I've taken an 8-week intensive course on this, so we can't cover it all in 1 hour. However, we'll dive in and get you started on it, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so let's start in with understanding the Google profile. A lot of people aren't really sure like what it is. It's a thing. It is, right? So you want to look for this and you want to find it. So you want to do a search and see if you already have one and you may not realize it, right? Because sometimes somebody has already given you a review and they left it on there and you're like, oh, I have one? What? If you don't have one yet, right, you can set that up too. But it's your essential online presence tool. This is a must-have for me and for all businesses, right? So it's crucial. It's really going to enhance your visibility. It makes a big difference. When somebody goes to search for you and they look for you and you don't have a Google business profile, it's like, what? Are you really in business? right? It also helps you control the maps, right? Where you're at so people can find you if you have a brick and mortar location. And you have control over your business information, because other people, if you're not controlling it, you're kind of stuck with whatever anybody else puts up there, right? So you may or may not have reviews. You may have reviews that don't look so good. You might have some great reviews that you'd like to claim, right? Or maybe they've got your wrong phone number on there, or your web address is wrong, right? So this is your opportunity to go in and control some of the information that's out there on the internet about your business, right? So it really helps with customers, giving them a place to go and engage with you, right? Whether it's the reviews, your updates, there's some metrics in there too. So it really comes in handy. So you want a Google Business Profile if you don't currently have one.
And it does work. I mean, I personally seen where people will look up marketing professionals in a certain region. They'll contact either me or one of our other members within the country, and it does work. I mean, you get calls, you get emails, you get folks visiting your website. There's paid features that are attached to kind of your whole entire Google Business Profile in general. But this is a very, very important real estate.
Yeah, it connects to so many different things. They've built it out so that it really integrates well with things. A lot of time might be your CRM, being able to manage your reviews. It's a great tool to make sure that you have access to. And I've seen some of the businesses don't always respond, and you got to respond on them too. And we'll get into details on that. But with the Google Business Profile, it's just an essential element of your business.
Yep.
Right. So the two things that you find on there really is the business information. So all the details on there about who you are, where you are, how to find you, all that important stuff, right? And then the visual element of it, right? So the images and videos and things that you can attach to it. So those are the two things that are really making up your Google profile, where they're attached to the rest of the world. It's everywhere. So when we talk about setting up your Google Business Profile, it's so important to set it up correctly. If it's not set up correctly, trying to fix it down the road, complete nightmare. Okay. I'm just going to warn you, go slow. If you're not sure what you're doing, ask for some advice from either another business owner or marketer, right? Pull somebody in, and because once you've set it and you're like, oops, didn't mean to do that. I really didn't want everybody to come to my house, right? So little oopses that you don't want to make, because it's so hard to change things on there. So take your time and do it nice and slow. Now, if you can see it here, we've kind of got it laid out a little bit on the kinds of things, if you're signed into your Google profile, what that looks like, right? You're going to claim your location. So you type it in. If it pops up, great, right? If it's not, well, you got to actually say, yep, I'd like to create. And you can just Google that even, right? I'd like to create my Google Business Profile. Boom. Now you have to have all these different things in there, and each one of these little things have more details behind them. So it's about being very methodical and just taking it step by step, right? If you go,
this is a great image to screenshot or to pause for somebody who's actually doing this real time. So
absolutely,
I love this, that you broke it down, gave some visuals of exactly what you're going to be filling out, and it's not too much. I mean, it's basic business information, right?
Right. Yeah. You want to gather that information. So you got it at your fingertips, right? Your basic information, but it's most of the stuff you should know, right? You should probably know where your business is located, the name of your business, simple thing. So as you're going through and you fill out the profile, right? And the other cool thing about this is once you set up your profile, you can actually invite people to help manage it for you. So if you have other team members that you want to give you a hand with that, or if you wanted to outsource that because you're like, oh no, I don't even want to deal with that, that's okay too, right? It's nice to be able to bring those managers in. So on here, you have the profile, right? All your details there. It talks about reading reviews. Those are good. We want those. You got to know what's in there so you know you can respond to them, right? Any photos that you want to upload, right? That's in the photo section there. And we were talking about metrics, right? So the numbers, the performance, you can take a look and see, okay, how many phone calls am I getting, right? How many people have clicked through, right? If you want to do your Google advertising, right? There's a spot there where it's all connected up. Editing products. You can have products on here. Yeah.
Now, I know right now, at the time of this recording, there's a $1,000 credit if you spend a certain amount of advertising dollars. So we're not recommending that everybody necessarily spend a certain amount of advertising dollars in a broadcast like this, but case by case basis, if you're already spending some ad dollars somewhere else, this might be worth looking at. And we're not getting paid by Google to say this or anything like that, but there is a nice little credit there to kind of extend your advertising dollars a bit. So that's super interesting.
Yeah, there's like I said, they're trying to encourage, you got to remember a lot of times they will offer something, right? Because it's upsells, right?
Yeah.
So part of this, when you use these kind of products, is determining what do I need to do? And then what do I need to pay extra for, right? So you got to walk that line. And if I push that button, is it saying here anywhere I'm agreeing to,
Yeah.
right? Pay attention. Sometimes they'll sneak one in on you on different services, right?
Yeah.
So you have services, you have products, right? So you can have those all listed out. You can also, there's other tools that you can tie into that with your social media, which will make it so that it syncs. So you update it here and it updates it there, right? So there's all sorts of fun little tools for that. Bookings, right? People can actually book organically now through Google. That was a new toy, more recent.
Great feature. Great feature. Yes.
We like organic bookings. And then Q&As, right? So people might have questions. So you can put questions in and then answer them. You can have friends put in questions, answer them, right? But you want to be doing that on a consistent basis also. And this way, all the major questions that people might have about your business end up on the Q&A section. Right? The add update button, that is actually where you use to make your posts. And we'll talk about posting a little bit later. And then asking for reviews, there's a special little short code link that they'll give you. It's not anything that you can memorize easy because it's a bunch of random letters and numbers. You might want to end up creating a short code for that. Like I know Giver Marketing has a short code, right?
Yeah, it's givermarketing.com/kind words. We like to use that phrase, kind words.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a way to make that a little bit easier to share, make a short link or add it to your website and do that special redirect on it, right? That's what we have with the kind words, right? So the idea is to make it easy for people to give you reviews. The easier you make it, the more likely they will. So each one of those, you just kind of have to methodically go through and start adding things in, okay? And you want to be checking your Google profile. You want to set up, there's an integration for your Google Maps on your phone. And so if you sign into your same Gmail address that you use for your Google profile, it'll pop up on your Maps app when you've got a review that you need to respond to. So you want to make sure you've got that turned on so that you know when to go and respond to something, right? So this is just kind of the basics, diving in, and set aside some time. And if it's too much you want, do it in spurts until you get it all done. But promise it's not that bad. The big mistakes you want to look at avoiding are something about consistent names, right? When you think about the name of your company, do you go by several different names? You want to be consistent so people know that it's you. And part of that, right, is maybe it's related something close to your website. Maybe it is a nickname that you have for your company, right? Whatever it is you want to think. I know Giver Marketing, we do Giver Marketing, then we might say Giver Marketing Network, and we might use both of those interchangeably, right? So you want people to be able to find you. So be consistent in your name across your different social media spots. We want to make sure everybody can find you. Other things would be the engaging business description. So what delineates you from everyone else? What makes you unique? It could be, I'm a restaurant, I serve food. Okay, can you give us a little more detail, right? What makes your restaurant better than anyone else's restaurant? What makes your marketing agency any better than anyone else's, right? So think about what makes you unique, right? And you need to use those keywords, and you want to make it very concise, right? Don't make them read through a whole paragraph to go, oh, it's a restaurant. Right. But make it something that's fun and that's things that people are searching for. You might have I have these great phrases and these terms that I coined myself, but if nobody knows them, they don't know to search for them. Okay. So as fun as that can be in your own branding, just remember that you need to be using words that people recognize and are actually looking for. Otherwise, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good. They're not really keywords at that point if they're not something everybody's looking for. Now, when you complete your profile, right, the location is huge. And I had mentioned earlier about the location, right? You want to make sure that you've got the exact service area that you're working in. You could say, yes, I'm nationwide. Okay. but there's a lot of businesses that are nationwide. If they go to search, it might be harder to find you. A lot of times it's better to kind of have it hunkered in onto a certain area. Like for me, it's DFW specifically, even though I have business clients that are international, right? That's okay. But you want people to be able to find you. This is especially important if you have a brick and mortar store, right? You want them to be able to get exactly where you are and be able to come find you. And that's so important. So once you've set it, it can be really difficult to change it. So if you're like, oh, but I moved, uh-oh. It gets a lot harder when you move. Just warning you now. You might want to have somebody come give you a hand with that, because when you start making changes, Google likes to verify things. So if you're online and they can go, oh, well, it's here, it's there, it's there. Okay, I've seen 10 different locations. This is the address and they're updating it. Okay, well, that makes a lot more sense. But we still need proof that it's yours. So they're going to make you jump through some extra hoops. But it's better to know that the business is true and it's there than to have it not, right? So keep in mind, once again, like I said, the online businesses, that wasn't really intended for that. This is more like the near me search, that kind of space. Okay. Giving you a heads up. All right. So when we talked about service areas, right? This one I have DFW. So it's got a little map right around my area so you can see where the service area is. So on my profile, right, you click on the little map and poof, there it is. This tells you where I normally work. And for in-person stuff, this is a lot of times where I'm playing, right? Online, that's a different story. But you want your service area. And so if you are a service business and a in-person business, whether you're delivery area, where you're taking your goods, where you're working with your clients, right? That's the idea behind the service area, is that you're going to the clients in this area. So that's why they're letting you have your Google business profile. And that's what delineates it between a completely online business. Okay. Another specific location, right? Here we've got Buckley. Now, I think Giver Marketing's been working with Buckley for a while, right?
Yeah, we've been able to help them go from basically having maybe less than 100 reviews to several hundred reviews, and they're the highest rated in their local area. And so it's really important for credibility purposes. This Google business profile has made them over $1 million.
Yes.
So you definitely want to pay attention if you're a local service provider, like Christine's saying, or some other kind of local entity that you want to make sure people know when they're searching in that region that you're going to come up somewhere, so that you're visible. Keyword visible, right? This is part of your foundational search engine optimization strategy. This is super foundational. This is like the rebar in your foundation. Like, this is the pieces within the structure of the foundation. Like, this is what you want to build your house on, for sure.
Yeah, if you have a local business and you're not paying attention to Google, ooh, you are missing out on some opportunities there, big time. So most definitely.
Some people might say, hey, why should I worry about Google if a lot of people are using like ChatGPT and some of this other ways to search for information? Well, there's still millions and millions and millions of people searching, and billions of searches for services and products, and local, that people love to support local. So make sure you're listed at the very least with some of the basics from today.
Absolutely. And all those other places are great. You can be in more than one location, and you should be, right? But you want to make sure Google is part of the backbone.
Yep.
You need it, right? So you go through and we filled out all those different areas. You're working your way through, and now Google says, great, now we want to verify your business, right? They will not make your profile visible to anybody on Google until you verify your business. It's absolutely essential. So video verification is the in thing now. This is the most common. So when you build it out, they're like, great, now make a video and prove it. Prove that's you. Okay. I've sometimes and this is even for ones that do service areas. You're like, but my office is my home. How do I So I've helped clients actually lay things out. They want to see where you're online signing into something official in your business, like your CRM or back office somewhere, right? They want to see the business cards there. I've got a client that kind of does custom clothing. So we literally had his, what do they even call those? The mannequins out with the clothing and the measuring stuff. So they just kind of went across all that. And you can't pre-record it. You have to do it live. So you have to have everything laid out, and they want you to start outside your location. So this is where I'm at. There's the cross streets. Here's the front door. There's the address going all the way in. Here's my computer, me signing in. Here's my business cards. Here's the area I work. It's crazy. And you're supposed to do it within like 2 minutes. So you got to plan ahead. We had to record it a couple of times before we got it exactly where we were doing it, right? And like, okay, good luck. I'll see you in a minute. So he's outside coming back in, right? So, there's a lot of details in there. Don't worry. Once you just plan ahead, you're okay. But that video is huge now. That's how they're requiring most people is using the video.
They used to have a person driving around, knocking on doors, checking in places to see if they were legit, and just kind of driving by and just seeing if everything was up and up. But it's amazing how they're trying to triple check all this now.
Yeah, they really want to make sure when they verify you, they want to make sure you're legit. Otherwise, forget it, and they won't. And I've seen a lot of clients run into problems with the verification process. They'll fill it out, but then they don't check for the follow-up stuff. They don't check on their profiles often enough to make sure that they're still verified, like something didn't change. So you got to go in there once in a while and see how you're doing. You can't just set it and forget it and walk away and never look at it again.
Yeah.
Right? Other things would be instant verification. Sometimes you can get it. It's pretty rare, but maybe you've been in business for a while and you have to go in and claim it. You're like, oh, look, I've got reviews. Look, everybody else knows I'm already here. Great. So if you're claiming it, right, you already have a good presence online. They verified you in other ways that they go, oh, okay, yes, we accept this as you. Right? Remember, they used to do the postcard verifications. Those are the worst. Trying to find them. When is it going to show up in the mail? Is it here yet? Nope, it's lost. Let me request another one. Right. So I'm glad we don't do that anymore. We've come far. The phone verification, right? If your phone number's been on your, they'll be like, oh, okay. The phone number's here. It's been there for a while. People are saying this is it. Okay. Yeah, we believe you. We just called that number and verified you. Okay. Yeah, that's you. Right? Or the email verification, right? A lot of times those are for the ones that are unclaimed, but you have to have it verified because otherwise it's not there. It does not exist until it's verified. So make sure you're verified on that. And you got to keep an eye on, because sometimes you might get in trouble for doing something you didn't know you weren't supposed to do. And there might be like a little warning on there. You got to go in and fix something. You might get suspended, in which case you got to jump through the hoops to do what they want you to do. Or that suspension all of a sudden goes to whoop and it's gone and you no longer exist. And then you got to start all over again, which is not fun at all. So pay attention to your profile. It's so important. Now, if you make it through all the hoops, eventually your profile will look like this, right? You have your business profile will have your company name at the top. It's got the reviews. This is Giver Marketing Network. Well, look at that. What you got going on there with them reviews?
Yeah, we got some good feedback over the years, and it's I can't wait to be able to celebrate 100 Google reviews coming up here shortly. In fact, I put the link in the comments today, and it's givermarketing.com/kind reviews. So if you can help us get to 100
reviews, kind words,
kind words, excuse me, givermarketing.com/kind words. So it's our website /kind words. Help us get to 100. This will be a milestone for us. It should be a milestone for you, and as you continue to grow.
Absolutely. This is the fun part, right? So you see on there, it's got the website, it's got the directions to get there. It's got, if you want to save that into your Google profile, if you want to share it with somebody, if you want to call, right? All those little things on there. So you get to put down your preferences on what you want, right? It's got locations and phone numbers, so all the contact details. So it's going to look like this. And then when you start getting those reviews, then you get those little stars going across. Love when that happens, right? Yep. So when we talk about your profile, there's some things you can do to optimize it and get better results out of it. So we're going to give you some hints and some tips right now. Here we go. So choosing the right business category is really important. Right? When you think about your business, You might offer multiple services, which is great. However, at the same time, which ones are the most important ones and which ones do you do the most of, and which ones are going to bring you the best return on investment if you advertise it, right? So think about your business and remember the rankings. Whatever you choose, Google's going to rank you in that. Okay. So some of them might be easier to rank in than others. Okay. So kind of keep that in mind. If you're in an area where it's super heavy and you're like, oh my goodness, I type in my service industry and it's like, there's so many people nearby, right? How do I distinguish myself? So you want to kind of look at your services, and it might be easier to rank up in something else that might not be your primary, but there's some little tricks in there, right? But you really want to think about, what are my top services? You can list a couple of them, right? So rank those, figure out what makes sense. Okay. And those are the ones you want to focus on. And those are going to be tied into those products and services that we talked about earlier. So whatever those are, we want to make sure you build them out on your Google business profile. This way, in the service section, you actually list those services, not just categories, but the services, and then what those products are. Make sure it all ties together. The more information you give Google, the happier Google is. Okay. And we all want to make Google happy.
I would put that in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. The more info you give Google, the more happy it is. I think that's a really good general first principle for Google. They're in the information business.
Yeah.
That's what they're in the data business. So
they are.
Yeah. So
the
good.
More you give them, the more they can check and see, okay, oh, you're over here also. Yes. And that matches. Okay. Yeah. And you're over there and that matches, right? Every time they can match that up, they go, hey, we like these. We like this, yeah. Right? And that starts ranking you up higher and higher. Okay.
What about the businesses out there that are thinking to themselves, I want to give basic information, but what about some of the like extended questions? We're in an area where information is kind of flying around everywhere. Mm-hmm. How do you answer those questions to folks that are just unsure? They're just not sure about how much information to give to a company that's going to be helping them get more business. But what's the conversation like with you, Christine?
Yeah, I know. I see that often with like new business owners not wanting to give their phone number. Mm. Right. And I'll admit, at first I was like, oh man, I don't want my phone number out on the internet. It's not that big of a deal, promise. Mm-hmm. And they're going to find it somewhere else anyway, right? So you might as well put it up there and let it all match. And if you're in business, you want people to come to you. That's a good thing. The more they come to you, the less you have to push out to drag them in, right? So you want them to come to you. Let's make it easy for them to find you. Let's make it easy for them to contact you and spend money with you, right?
That's a good point. Sometimes we kind of get in our own head and start maybe being overly concerned about something specific when that's the very thing that we need to grow our business. So that's a really good example. Thanks, Christine.
You can't be a secret business owner. If you can't put it out there, it's really hard to bring in business if you're a secret. Okay.
That's
just
true.
At the point that you step into the role of business ownership, you kind of have to say a certain amount of that privacy thing kind of just goes away.
Yeah,
you're a public entity now.
Public entity. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Absolutely. So make sure that you're really careful on how you lay this out, what your categories are. Make sure you're sharing. You have to sharing your brand, right? All this is important. Make sure those categories make sense, right? And it's going to draw people to you. If you put services on there that aren't really services that you really do, but you wanted to do it because it looked good, it doesn't look good, because then when they call and they go, hey, I need this, and you go, oh, well, we can't really do that for you, right? Now, what did you do? You just destroyed your credibility and their trust in you. Okay. Now you've got a nasty review saying, well, it says they do this, but they don't have it. Right. Boom.
Yeah.
So let's not give people a reason to get mad at you. Okay.
Good point.
So there's also some industry specific features within the profile, right? So for example, I'm in Texas. Okay. Sweet tea is a part of life. So HTO is a Texas business, and they've got, for example, their website, directions on how to get there. You can look at their reviews, right? But down below you see order pickup, order delivery. So you can actually encourage people to order right through your profile, right? So this is the kind of tricks that they have. So take advantage, whatever your business is, and say, what makes sense for my business? What do I need to look for, right? If you're in any kind of service industry where they can order or pick things up, those are fantastic ways. You can put those products on there, right? So pay attention to the extra details depending on your industry and what you're doing. Here's another local one business. So they talk about their service options at the bottom. It has a simple thing about the description of what the restaurant is, this kind of style of food we have. And then, hey, it has outdoor seating, right? So serves great cocktails, right? So you want to have extra details wherever you can that helps differentiate your business from other businesses. Like, okay, you're a restaurant, and okay, so more detail, good.
That's it.
As we talk about industry specific, right? We talk about the products. So if you're in retail and you have products, right, this is great. So when you scroll down and you look at their profile at the bottom, there's a spot for products. So they have images, right? They have prices. They can click on those for more details. If you have it set up, it can click through to your website so they can make purchases, right? So there's a lot of opportunities. So you want to look at those integrations we were talking about. This way you're not trying to sign in to every location and update your products every time you sell something or change products. You want one that's integrated where you can do it in one place and it populates everywhere else for you. Okay. Now we're getting into the pretty stuff, photos. All the visual stuff, videos, right? This is really just like any other social media platform. We need visuals. If it's all text-based, we'll hang out for a little while and then we're like, and I'm bored. This is the instant gratification time in society. So you really got to grab our attention. So make sure you're using this as an opportunity to encourage people to pay attention to what you're posting. Like, oh, that's pretty. What's that about? So they can dive in a little bit deeper. This is a chance to show off your brand, right? So what's important to your brand? What can you add to get people get a better feel for your business? Think about it. If you go to one Google profile and it's like, yeah, okay, it's kind of there, but it's not really doing anything. Right? And then you go to the other one, you're like, ooh, pictures. Look, ooh, that looks delicious. I want to order that. Or, ooh, I need one of those. Right? We want to be able to grab people's attention. Okay, so that's really important part. It's the text side and the visual side of it. So to optimize for your search visibility, you want to be updating your visual content on your Google. Now, there's a fine line on this. Okay, Google is not like Facebook where you can post 5 to 7 times a day. Right? LinkedIn doesn't let you do that either. Okay, they don't really frown upon you posting that often. However, with Google, even more extreme, you probably don't want to post more than once, twice a week. Any more than that, Google starts looking at you like, what do you think? This is Facebook? What are you doing? So it's much more serious. It's a little bit, you still reflect your brand, but it's not for socializing. It has a purpose. So stick in its purpose, stay in the lane, right? But you can put in any video content and photo content that relates to your business. Okay. But only once or twice a week. Very important. Okay. So photo types, you're like, what kind of photos would I possibly put up? Right. So you have a cover photo, right? So something prominent that represents your business well. Upload your logo because Google will recognize it when it looks at things. It's like, oh, we recognize that logo. That logo belongs to Giver Marketing. Oh, that must be Giver Marketing related, right? So it knows your logo. It starts remembering. So when you upload, it knows what's to look for. And if you have more than one version of it, sometimes we might have a shortened version, or one's a square, one's a little bit long, right? We might have a dark colored and a light colored one, right? Upload those. This way Google knows, oh, that's you. You're claiming that one. Got it. Okay. Interior photos. So if you have a location, right, take some photos of what's going on inside so people know what to expect. Have you ever gone someplace where you're like, okay, well, I didn't see any inside photos, and you show up and you're like, oh, wish I'd seen this before I showed up. So be honest about what's going on in interior photos, those exterior photos, so we can find you. Right? Have you ever like, I'm going to a new place, I'm driving along, and like, I know it's around here. Oh, there it is. I recognize it from the picture. Right. Yep. It just makes it a little easier to come in with your signposting, right? Make sure it matches. So whatever you're posting online, you want us to be able to identify that easily so we can come on in and visit.
A lot of times we already have these photos that we've taken with our clients, or just working on the space or location that we're at. So it's not as much taking all new pictures, even though you want some of those. But take a short video, tell a story, tell the origin story of your business. Like, how did you end up landing in this space and place in the world and doing what you're doing? Just maybe do an interview style, or take some pictures of some of your team. That's what you saw earlier on some of the photos that you saw featured. It's just team members working together. Like, people want to know who's going to be serving them. Everybody judges a book by its cover, so give them a nice cover.
Big smiling faces, please.
That's right.
When appropriate, right? So whatever it is that you're offering, what would my clients want to know about, right? If I'm a restaurant and I have a banquet room, okay, great. Take a picture of it, right? People are looking for banquet rooms to host events. Let's make it easy on people. Don't make them have to drive over there to go, oh, this isn't big enough for what I need, right? Let them know right off the bat. The more information you give, that's good. You didn't waste anybody's time. You didn't have to answer questions. They just had to look at a photo. Right? Yep. Make it easy on them. So you have lots of choices on what you want to put up. And, JPEGs, PNGs, make sure between 10 KB, that would be really, really small. Thinking about, wow, can't remember last time I had anything that small.
It's
right,
like
up to 5 MB.
Flip phone days. So basically, it'll take anything up to 5 MB, right? 5 megabytes. Right. Okay.
Absolutely. So you want to be careful not to make too big. So if you're thinking, I'm going to use my great expensive, fancy camera, well, you probably have to put it into a program and make it a little bit more compact, compress the photo a little bit before you can upload it, because it might be too big, right? Resolution at least 250 by 250 pixels. Make sure it's well lit so they can see everybody, right? And they're saying avoid excessive use of filters or significant alterations, because they want it to be authentic. It's about being authentic. So if you're putting a bunch of filters on things and putting text over the top of everything, you're losing that authentic factor, right? What are you hiding behind those words?
All right, everybody put authentic info in the comments. Authentic info. We want to know that you're listening, that you're watching either live or recorded. Authentic info. I'm going to put that in the chat as well.
Yeah, that's so important, right? And that's why they're doing the verification. That's why they're wanting to see the pictures, right? They're really trying to promote that authenticity. Right. And for adding videos, Timothy had great suggestions, right? About short little videos. So 30 seconds, once again, instant gratification society. If you give me longer than 30 seconds, I won't make it past the first 15 seconds anyway. Right? Show your office, your store, your warehouse, explain the company's history, mission, culture, products, demo them for us, right? Introduce us to team members. Right? Testimonials, those are great to put up on the videos. Anything going behind the scenes, special things coming out, right? There's a lot of different options there that we can do. Lots of fun. So play with it. Have a good time. Little short clips, right?
Yeah. A lot of this is pretty inherent now in our modern era. We just need to either get up to speed or go ahead and just do what we know would be best for our company. I mean, it could literally mean tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars for you to over the course of time. So you take the work you do now, and a lot of this is fairly static. It's Google doing all the work in the background. Of course, you're posting pictures and videos periodically, but maybe once a week or something. But ultimately, this is one of the best long-term strategies for the amount of input. The output you get is 10x, 100x, 1,000x, maybe even more of the return on investment of time. And it's free on its basic level. And if you spend a few dollars on ads, you definitely are going to want to do this ahead of time. You don't want to be putting the cart before the horse. So.
Right. And Google loves consistency. It goes along with that authenticity. Are you in business now, but you aren't next week? What's going on here? Right. So go in there and post every week. And some of the posting programs will let you do Google Business specifically. Yep. But if you're posting Facebook every day, don't do that on your Google, right? Just make sure, okay, turn it on those 2 days. Got it.
Yeah, check the box. Yeah.
You want to make sure that you're following the rules, because they like it when you follow the rules. So here's some more details on the video guidelines, right? So that you know what you're doing. If you're like, oh my goodness, a lot of details. Make yourself a little cheat sheet, right? And just stick it on a Post-it note and stick it right next to your computer. They have electric Post notes. So, right, just keep it handy so you know what to refer back to. Not that big of a deal. Now, when we talk about the postings and not over posting, right, just maybe twice a week, you can do 3 different kinds of posts. One is add update. And actually, the update button gets you to all of these. When we showed you that little panel, right, the spot that said update, that's what you're going to click on to be able to do any kind of post. So one can be add update or add offer or add event. Those are your 3 options. Okay. And all of those let you put in photos or videos, descriptions, action buttons. Right. So take a moment and think about, okay, from a standpoint of I can only post once or twice a week, what's my biggest priorities? What do I want on there, right? Do I have a weekly event? Maybe I don't want to advertise it every week because then I would use up all my spots, right? But maybe I want to advertise it once or twice a month, right? But I've got other things I want to talk about too, right? So do you have any special offers going on? That's a great place to put your offer. So if somebody's reading through and they're like, oh, there's an offer right now, maybe that just helped them make a decision to move forward with your business rather than someone else's, okay? So use those opportunities, right? If you've got an event, great opportunity to share that event out there. And so we can, it lives in your Google profile, right?
I'm
So
trying to remember, does that event require a physical location? I'm trying to remember. We'd have to look
I'm
at
pretty sure I've used it for online before.
Oh, interesting. Okay, good.
I don't know what I did for the workaround because sometimes you got to get creative. I may have done a workaround on that one, but
Okay.
I do a lot of online events and I'm pretty sure I've done it there.
Good to know.
Yeah, great fun. All right, so we talk about reviews. Yay. So you want your numbers to be up, right? You want all those reviews. You want to start building them. But a lot of times you have to ask for them because usually when people are mad, they'll go post a review, right? Well, you got to get the people that are happy to post the reviews. So the idea is to get that balance going, right? So this gives you a chance to kind of get in there and manage those reviews. You want to respond to every review, good, bad, indifferent. Okay. And how you choose to respond to that, it's going to have an impact on how others view your brand and how you bring up that personality, right? If somebody gives you a bad review, how do you respond tactfully? How do you use this as an opportunity for growth, right? So you want to think about managing those reviews and how you're going to respond. So the review here, working with Christine is epic. Yay. Right. So I still have to respond to it. Right. And it's like, okay, well, right back at you. Thank you for being uniquely you. Okay. Whatever it is that you choose that goes along with your brand. Okay. So you're going to have
paying attention, right? And if you have a social media manager or somebody who manages your brand, this will be a part of their job description. And it doesn't take a lot of time, but if you're already in the rhythm of responding, commenting, replying, this is a great action item for even a virtual assistant. If you give them access and make sure that they can respond appropriately, give them a few basic responses so at least people know you're paying attention.
Well, we talked about Google wanting authentic, right? So if you don't care about your reviews because you don't respond to them, then why should Google care?
Yeah. And
So
you'll notice, I'm noticing here, Christine, that there's some businesses that have hundreds of reviews. Some businesses have dozen or more reviews. What's this kind of threshold, or what's the like number that you want to get to say, you know what, I feel like I'm feeling legit, like I'm feeling like a established business here on Google, at least? Like, what's that number where people start saying, they're pretty solid?
Yeah, the magic number, and I know somebody that's been in business for 20 years and has 1 review. Now, if you go to their business profile and you go 1 review, well, maybe they're not very good, right? Maybe they haven't been in business very long, right? All these different things go through our head when we see really small numbers, right? We want to see more. And at the same time, sometimes you might have ones that aren't as good. Well, having more balances those out, right? now it's not such a big deal because it's kind of blended in with the rest of it. And even then, the 5-star, like we love 5-star. However, you're like, is anybody that perfect? I'd like to claim as a diva that I am. However, it seems more realistic, and actually people like it when you have some that aren't always perfect, and you can go in and respond and say, if you respond well to it and say, wow, did not realize that it happened, please come back in so we can make that right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Please reach out to us at such and such. We would love to take care of this for you, or thank you for bringing that to our attention. Right. So it's an opportunity to make changes. So those numbers, right. The idea is to continuously grow it. And Google likes it when you're bringing in a new review every month. Right?
I wonder if there's some business owners who hesitate to set up certain profiles because they will get feedback publicly, and there's an embarrassment factor that can come into play. But I love your tip about, try to get as many kind words going, as many positive phrases going on, as many reviews that are positive going ahead of time, so that if there is one negative that you need to respond to, it's only 1 out of 20 or 1 out of 30 or 1 out of 40 that ends up being kind of neutral or negative. And getting as many of those 4 or 5-star reviews as you can is really and there's some businesses that they do such a good job at promoting their review page, like this one right here, where to this point they have all 5-star reviews, but there might be some disgruntled person down the road. Sometimes they even mix up the company name, and they'll give you a negative review, but people know that happens. So you just respond to them saying, I'm sorry, I don't think we've done business together. You might be mixing us up with another company. And you can always report that to Google and all that, but that's almost a secondary conversation. What Christine's saying is super important. Don't be afraid to set up your profile and get as many positive, kind words as possible. If somebody knows your character, let them say something. If Google doesn't have the same restrictions that some of these other platforms do, so get as many positive people in the mix as possible.
Yeah, do it consistently over time. So if you get 2 new reviews, 3 new reviews a month, and keep going, right? But if you get a whole bunch in 1 month and then nothing the next month, Google's like, what's going on here? This doesn't seem right. Right. Yeah. So they like that consistency. So it's like you said, it's the long game. It's the long haul. You're in it. You just keep building it consistently over time. And Google loves when you do that. So just keep at it. Set a calendar, something on your calendar every week saying to sign in and do something with Google. Once a month, go in and check your Google panel, make sure that there's nothing that's changed that you need to go in and so at least update it once a month, if nothing else, right? Get in there and make those changes. You've got opportunities here. Don't mess them up. Right. So timely engagement, respond within 24 to 48 hours. Google likes that. If you wait longer than that, Google gets mad at you. If you don't care, they don't care. Why should they push you out, and why should they promote you more? Okay. That ranking thing is going to hurt your ranking. Right. Plus, when you respond, right, foster that sense of appreciation and trust with your customer base, right? Showing your values by interacting with them and how you respond to something. If you're cool about something, right, they're like, oh, that was nice. There's times you can take a bad review and turn it around. Okay, it's an opportunity to grow.
They say a sign of maturity, and probably in a business too, is how you respond to criticism. And so that is a sign of a mature business. If you're a newbie or just starting and a little bit insecure about your brand, it's understandable to not be sure how to respond, but just ask Christine or somebody else in your corner to help you with some basic response language that showcases maturity. And you'll make more impact and more money doing it that way than you will trying to avoid the whole conversation to begin with.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you use it as an opportunity for feedback and you look at that as a growth opportunity, right? That mindset, it changes things for your business, but your business is not you. I know you're thinking it is, but it's not. You have to separate those two, and you can't take every review like, oh my goodness, the world's coming to an end. I have a bad review. Until you get used to that and you get past that hurdle, right? It's nerve-wracking to put yourself out there, but there's reviews everywhere. And at least with Google, you have an opportunity to respond because you've claimed your profile,
Well
right?
said.
Whereas if you didn't, you couldn't. Right.
Yep.
So learning curve, there's a learning curve, and it's okay to be like, ooh, I need to fix that. Don't get mad at them. Okay. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. Right. So prompt those positive reviews. You want to make sure that you've got a system in place to encourage people to give you reviews, whether it's a QR code on the wall inside your location, whether it's an automated email you have going out after a certain service, right? And don't think that you have to wait till the end of the service. It might be an ongoing service, right? You want to grab them at the beginning when they're feeling happy and excited about working with you. Get it right from the beginning, right? But put some systems in place. Sometimes the all-in-one CRMs, or there's programs specifically that will go out and help seek those for you. I've also seen ones where they're at the restaurant, they've got a tabletop, right? And it's resting on top of the table, and they would scan it and they can leave a review, and it can say smiley face or frown. Right? If they choose the frown, then it redirects them back to you so you can respond to them. The smiley one moves them on to the next spot, which is to have them sign in on Google to do a profile, right? Or a review on the profile. So there's extra little tricks. And if you don't know the tools for that, reach out. We can give you some suggestions, hook you up with people that set this kind of stuff up. But be proactive, right? It's good to get reviews. It's okay to ask for them. Don't be afraid to ask for them.
Start with friends and family. Just put it out to people who actually know your character, and load up the reviews with 10, 20, 30 kind phrases and positive reviews, and you will be really moving in the right direction. So good.
Absolutely.
Good tips today.
It doesn't always have to be a customer or a client, right? It can be a business partner, somebody that you work with, somebody you collaborate with, you've done an event with them, whatever it is. So it's okay to, like you said, more of the character side also. So yeah. Absolutely. So that was pretty fast crash course we got going right there. So that was your Google business profile crash course. We talked a little bit about understanding it, setting it up, and how to optimize it a little bit. Like I said, there's so much that goes into it, but this should give you enough where you can kind of get started. Yeah.
Well done, Christine. I know that some people will have questions. So can they book an appointment here with this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Go ahead and book on that QR code right there. We'll leave that up for a second so you can scan that. So if you've got questions, I've got answers. And if I don't, we know where to find them. Okay. So go ahead and book that one-on-one with me. This is a no-cost session to be able to work with me and talk a little bit about your profile. If you've been nervous about claiming it, I can give you a hand with that. Maybe you had one and you're like, I don't know what happened to it, but we can take a look and see where it's at and see if it's, we just need to make some changes, or is it bye-bye and we have to do a new one? We can talk about those things. Maybe you just want to talk a little bit about, I claimed it, but am I really using it as much as I could, right? You want some advice? We can talk about that. I love this space. It's so much fun. Google is just a fun place to play.
Yeah. So the networkingdiva.com/book, I'm going to put that in some of the social feeds. If you can let us know where you're watching from, where you're experiencing this from, whether it's recorded or whether you're watching this live. I want to make sure I'm spelling this right. So networkingdiva.com/book. Let's go, Christine.
Yeah. Come visit, come hang out. I love making new friends if we haven't met yet. And maybe you know me already. That's okay too. Come visit. Come hang out with me.
Set up a time and we'll have a blast. So Christine, great job as usual today. The questions I would have to do with, okay, you gave us a little teaser earlier, and I know that we need to talk to you one-on-one about this, but are there any ways for online businesses that maybe they do have a small physical location or a shared space or some an office they split with somebody else, or a home office even, Like
that video is going to be important because they want to see outside walking in. Here I am entering my office. There's my business name right there. There's the suite number on there, right? You got to get all that in the video. If you have a little office somewhere that you're using, that's fine. You can use that, right? You can also put, by appointment only on there so people don't just drop by, though they may anyway. You just got to realize if your address is up there. If you do a service area, you don't necessarily have to have a visible address. You might want to consider adding a service to your business that is a local service. So I don't do house visits to my clients in the Philippines or in England, but locally, right? I might host an event. I might, right. So maybe you just need to host some kind of monthly event that's local, and that would give you an excuse to have a service that is local.
Excellent. I like your tips there. So thank you again, Christine, for kind of going a little deeper there. Check out thenetworkingdiva.com/book. Set up a time with Christine, whether you're watching this live or recorded. She's been in business for a while now. She knows what she's doing. She's got really good feedback from all the folks that I've worked with, and we work on projects together. And also you can check out her reviews on Google and find out a little bit more about her and see if the style or the cadence, or sometimes the only criticism I've heard from Christine is she's just too positive. Like she brings too much good energy to the room. Like,
I hate when that happens.
I'm just joking around. But when people say things like, man, she gets a lot done and she's super positive. Like, I'm like, yeah, that's why we work with her. She's amazing. So awesome. Well, thank you again, Christine. Talk to you soon. Awesome. See you guys next time. Oh, let's mention the Wednesday networking.
That's true. We almost forgot. Oh no. Okay. So on Wednesdays we have networking for marketers. It's for marketers, PR space, media, anybody in that space, right? Sometimes as business owners, if you have a small business, right, we become lonelypreneurs. We don't get a chance to talk and bounce ideas off of everything. And you miss opportunities, right? You don't get a chance to chat with somebody about the latest, greatest, what's coming out, right? People partner and white label, right? So there's all sorts of opportunities when we can put a bunch of professionals in the room together in the same industry. So if you have an abundance mindset as opposed to a scarcity mindset, this is a good place for you, because we like to work together on things. And there's plenty of business to go around. If you ever look on Google, you'll see how many profiles are out there. There's a lot of businesses. We don't need to step on each other's toes, but we can work together, and together we can go ahead and go for those larger projects. So there's some opportunity here. So if you are looking to expand your business as a marketer, come hang out with us and get to know some other marketers in the room. That is givermarketing.com/networking. And we would love to see you on Wednesdays.
All right. There it is. God bless you guys. We'll see you next time. See you soon. Talk to you soon.